How did Zionists occupy Palestine in the early 20th century? This question takes us back to the early roots of Zionism. Our story begins in the late 19th century in the heart of Europe. Here the seeds of Zionism were being sown. Jews faced increasing anti-Semitism, and a solution was sought to this mounting crisis. At the center of this movement was Theodor Herzl, a journalist and political activist who is often referred to as the father of modern political Zionism. A pivotal moment in the birth of Zionism was the Dreyfus Affair. A French Jewish artillery officer, Alfred Dreyfus, was falsely accused of espionage. The scandal that ensued, fueled by rampant anti-Semitism, shook France to its core and resonated across Europe. Herzl, who was covering the trial as a journalist, was deeply affected by the injustice. This event solidified his belief in the necessity of a Jewish state, a haven for Jews worldwide. A key point in our story is the convening of the First Zionist Congress in Basel, Switzerland in 1897. This marked a significant step in the Zionist movement. The Congress formulated the Basel Program, which declared Zionism's aim to establish a home for the Jewish people without specifying a particular location. This was a decisive moment, the formalization of a vision that had been growing. The stage was set for a new chapter in the story of Zionism, one that would have far-reaching implications for the world. As we move forward, we'll explore the crucial role of the Balfour Declaration and British support in the establishment of a Jewish homeland. With a goal in mind, Zionists needed support, which they found in the British government. The year was 1917, the world was embroiled in the First World War, and Britain was looking for allies. Enter the Balfour Declaration, a public statement issued by the British government expressing support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. This was a significant turning point in the Zionist movement. This seemingly simple promise had far-reaching consequences, setting the stage for the establishment of Israel. Now, why did Britain support the Zionists? The answer could be traced back to a decade earlier, to a report by British Prime Minister Sir Henry Campbell Bannerman. In 1907, Campbell Bannerman expressed the strategic importance of dividing the Arab world, to weaken it and ensure colonial dominance. The Zionist movement, with its aim of establishing a Jewish state in Palestine, fit perfectly into this strategy. Moreover, the League of Nations mandate system following World War I played a crucial role. Britain was assigned the mandate over Palestine, and they saw this as an opportunity to fulfill the Balfour Declaration. Under the British mandate, Zionist immigration to Palestine increased significantly. The British provided military protection to these new settlers, further facilitating the establishment of Jewish settlements on Palestinian land. However, this support for Zionism came at a high cost. The rights, aspirations, and very existence of the Arab Palestinian inhabitants were overlooked, leading to decades of conflict and suffering. With British support, the path to a Zionist state in Palestine was paved. With the stage set, Zionists began immigrating to Palestine, sparking resistance from the Arab population. The end of the 19th century and the early years of the 20th witnessed several waves of Jewish immigration to Palestine, a region then under British control. These immigrants, largely fleeing persecution and seeking a safe haven, were driven by the Zionist dream of establishing a Jewish homeland. The first wave, known as the First Aliyah, began in the 1880s. Primarily made up of Eastern European Jews, these pioneers established agricultural settlements, laying the groundwork for a Jewish presence in the region. The Second Aliyah, from 1904 to 1914, saw a surge of immigrants, many of whom were committed Zionists, further strengthening the Jewish foothold. As the Jewish population grew, so did the establishment of Jewish settlements. However, this influx brought about a striking development that was not welcomed by the Arab population: the establishment of Zionist gangs. These gangs were seen by the Arab community as a considerable menace, causing disruption and posing a very real and direct threat to their existence and way of life. The escalation of tensions between the two communities reached a boiling point with the Arab Revolt of 1936 to 1939. This revolt was a nationalist uprising by Palestinian Arabs, instigated by the mass Jewish immigration, the disruptive activities of Zionist gangs, and dissatisfaction with British colonial rule. The revolt was marked by strikes, protests, and violent confrontings, reflecting the depth of Arab resentment towards both the British administration and the Zionist project. Despite the revolt, the waves of Jewish immigration continued, with the aftermath of World War II and the Holocaust causing a significant surge. The plight of Jewish refugees desiring a safe haven was recognized internationally, leading to increased support for the establishment of a Jewish state. The mounting tensions set the stage for a larger conflict. The conflict reached a boiling point in 1948 with the Nakba, or catastrophe, and the establishment of Israel. This stage of the narrative was triggered by the United Nations Partition Plan of 1947, which proposed the division of British Mandate Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem under international administration. The plan was accepted by Zionists but was rejected by Arab leaders and the Palestinian population, who saw this as a continuation of colonial disregard for their political rights and national aspirations. The rejection led to a war, commonly referred to as the 1948 Arab-Israeli War or the War of Independence. During this conflict, Zionist militias committed numerous massacres against Arab Palestinians. The most notorious of these was the Deir Yassin massacre, where over 100 men, women and children were brutally killed. These atrocities were part of a larger strategy to instill fear and trigger the flight of Palestinians from their land. And then came the Nakba, marking a period of immense grief and dispossession for the Palestinians. More than 700,000 Palestinians were expelled from their homes or fled out of fear of further massacres. Their expulsion was not accidental but a deliberate act of ethnic cleansing. The Palestinians who remained within the new Israeli state were subjected to martial law and severe restrictions on their movement and rights. As the British Mandate ended in May 1948, the State of Israel was officially declared, recognized by many Western powers, including the United States and the Soviet Union. The Zionists had achieved their goal of a Jewish homeland, but it wasn't a peaceful beginning. The war had left Jerusalem divided, and the region in a state of instability. The Israeli victory came at a great cost, not only in terms of lives lost, but also the displacement and suffering of the Palestinian people. With the establishment of Israel, Zionists achieved their goal at a great cost to the Palestinian people. The impact of the Zionist occupation of Palestine has been profound and continues to shape the region today. The establishment of the State of Israel on Palestinian land has resulted in an ongoing conflict that has persisted for more than 7 decades. A constant state of strife, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains a defining issue in the Middle East. This conflict has led to a significant displacement of Palestinians, many of whom were forced to flee their homes during the 1948 Nakba, or catastrophe, when Israel declared its independence. Today, millions of Palestinians live as refugees in neighboring countries, their right of return to their ancestral homes denied by Israel. This displacement has had a profound effect on Palestinian society, fracturing families and dispersing a people across the region and beyond. The occupation has also had a significant impact on the struggle for Palestinian rights and statehood. Despite numerous resolutions by the United Nations calling for a two-state solution, the expansion of Israeli settlements on Palestinian lands continues unabated, threatening the viability of a future Palestinian state. Moreover, the occupation has led to systemic human rights abuses, including restrictions on movement, arbitrary detentions and violent crackdowns on protests. Israel's occupation has been marked by the notion of shooting and crying, a term that encapsulates the conflicted mindset of early Zionists. They felt justified in their actions, yet expressed sorrow for the consequences. However, the reality on the ground shows a different picture, one marked by a lack of remorse and a continued disregard for Palestinian suffering. Despite these challenges, the Palestinian people continue to resist the occupation and strive for their right to self-determination. Their struggle, though fraught with difficulty, is a testament to the resilience of a people who refuse to be erased from their homeland. The Zionist occupation of Palestine, started in the early 20th century, has left deep scars that continue to shape the Middle East today.